And our favorite House member, Jim Jordan, from the great state of Ohio. Hello, Jim. I'm sorry, there's obviously some confusion with Mr. Biden hovering around the microphone. I assume he's going to get to it in the next half hour. But, Jim Jordan, let me ask you this. It's a serious question. What will the Republican alternative be? Okay, I'm going to just guess off the top of my head that you don't approve of Mr. Biden's infrastructure plan. But what will the Republican alternative be?
Well, I'll tell you what we won't do. We won't raise people's taxes. I mean, think about it, Larry. What have we doubled the money supply in the last 18 months? There's so much cash out there. I've just been all over our district talking to business owners. The biggest problem they have is, A, they can't find people to work. That's the biggest concern. But also the price of materials, the price of lumber, the price of steel. We're a huge manufacturing district. Those are going up. Now you put on a tax increase. You talk about trouble for our economy that is coming back strong, coming back to where it was under the great economy we had with you and the Trump administration. So the one thing we won't do is raise taxes, which they're getting ready to do. That is just so bad for.
Biden's about to speak, Jim, but I just want to. Okay, you won't raise taxes. Good on you. But what will you recommend as an option?
Not spending that amount of money. I mean, look, this is what are they talking? $3 trillion now, maybe $2 trillion. Yeah. They just continue to spend. They're broadband. You're right. I talk to people. Rural areas certainly want broadband. So if there's something we can work on there, maybe, but not to this tune, and not all the regulations, not all the taxation that will accompany this plan. It's almost as if the Biden administration is trying to figure out how can they undo all the good Trump administration policies and how quickly can they do it.
Well, that's
We've obviously seen it on the border. They undid his policies. We got chaos. Now they're trying to do it to our economy as well.
I don't want to be a nag, but I think I get that. We don't want new taxes. We don't want regulations and so forth. We don't want to spend all this money. But in discussions we had a couple of years back when infrastructure was hot, people came to the White House, the cabinet room, met with the president and senior staff. We did talk about, finally, like $1 trillion bill over 10 years, so it'd be about $100 billion a year. Targeted very well. No tax hikes. It could be done through user fees or bonding or other means. Will you all, GOP leadership, be proposing anything specific in response as an alternative?
Well, yeah, Larry, I would say it this way. If Democrats come to us and really want to work on something that is reasonable, that's good for the country and not just driven by left-wing Democrat politics, I think we're always open to listening. Remember, that's what President Biden said at his inauguration. Let's find something we can unify around. If there's that kind of plan, you would see Republicans there. But since that speech, everything since then, starting just a few hours afterwards, has been all left-wing things, all left-wing leaning policies right down the path, all of it. So that, I think, is the concern. If they come to us with something real. I mean, Joe Biden just talked about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Let me tell you, that happens not when government does all this stuff, but when government gets out of the way and lets families and communities, as you said, state and local governments and communities work together, let regular hardworking people go after their goals and dreams. That's what we need to focus on versus this $2 trillion on top of the $2 trillion they just did, on top of $10 trillion they're talking about with climate change and all the other stuff. You talk about ruining jobs and ruining economies. That's how you get there.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
if they really want to work with us, we're happy to talk to them.
Okay, I get it. There's just a lot of stuff in here, and we will know more as we parse through the details. But there's a lot of stuff here that has very little or nothing to do with infrastructure, or at least infrastructure as we used to define it. So last point, Jim. I'm hearing, sources are saying, it's being reported and so forth, that basically the Democrats in the Senate are going to ram this through on a 51-vote reconciliation package. Mr. Biden may invite Republicans to the White House to have a lovely cup of coffee, but at the end of the day, is that your expectation? They're just going to drive this thing through without the GOP? Yes, that's all they've been doing. They haven't worked with us on one thing. He talked about unity on January 20th. He's been anything but that since then. So, yeah, I expect that completely. This is the hard left taking over the Democrat Party, doing all their radical things, and I assume this is going to be no different. All right, Jim Jordan from Ohio. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. As always, my hero.
You bet, Larry. Take care.